Once upon a time, I was a fresher, ready to take university on by storm. But then within what feels like just a few weeks, I was a third-year student, buried in work and unable to hack more than 2 nights out a week. But what was university actually like? Welcome to the big review. After studying at university in the UK and visiting several different universities in the UK, I've experienced lots. And I think it's finally time to do one big review of university in the UK. So before I went to university, my expectation of what it would be like was heavily influenced by every American movie ever. I thought university was full of beer cups, ping pong and kissing games. And listen, if it was like that, I'm not going to complain. So I went to university in my TNs and I had a Segway. Why'd I bring a Segway? I don't know. Didn't use it once. And then I soon realised that not everybody was like what was in the movies. Some people in my flat were about playing board games and others, they like going out. And everybody had their own unique thing they did. Mine being YouTube, of course. And by the end of the year, I was occasionally joining in on these board game nights because you know what? Never did them before, never thought I would be doing them at uni, but they was actually quite fun. And I think the very first thing I'd say about UK uni is there's a very diverse mix of people who are all into their own unique things. And obviously when there's 15,000 people in a year, you would expect that. But I think I was surprised at just how many people had their own, unique, quirky thing that they was into. It wasn't really just a cycle of gym, pre, out, repeat for everybody. Obviously some people it was, but not as many people as I thought. And for me, first half of the year I was like that a bit, second half of the year I calmed down. I was on the grind. And you know what, in my DMs I've had quite a few requests for information on how easy is it to pull on a night out at university. Now, this information request is mainly coming from international students looking to come to the UK or study abroad people looking to come to UK. So I thought I'd answer it right now. Me and my friends are saying the same thing. So when we first, was going to university, I thought it'd be easy. I thought everybody would you just go into a club and it's it's like uni, everybody's just gonna get off of each other. But nah. Somebody with mid-tier game like myself, we get by. Obviously it depends on yourself, obviously it depends on what club you go to, what's the ratio like, there's many varying factors, but it's not as easy as the movies make it out to be. It's not as easy as you might think before you go. I feel like when I look at people pulling in the clubs in the UK and then compare that to Australia, so many more people in Australia will pull in the club than in the UK. So maybe for the big review, UK university is quite hard to pull in overall. And obviously there's going to be a few geezers in the comment, they're like, oh mate, what are you on about? Pull 5 birds every night. So friends at university, this is an interesting one, especially for me, because obviously when I studied abroad in my second year, I kind of basically lost contact with a lot of people who I was friends with in first year because I was making new friends. Obviously that's a big danger of study abroad. So my friendship group, I didn't have a consistent one throughout university in the UK. But I think one thing that truly surprised me, especially in first year, was how, let's say, you're meeting loads of new people and stuff like that, but in the UK, how quickly your friendship groups can change. So let's say you invite a mate over for prees, you're getting on in the kitchen, and then he brings over a +1, and then that +1 just instantly bonds in with your group, and you basically, your group just continuously expands and expands. And I think I was surprised at how quickly your group can grow and expand. Basically, everyone's very welcoming. And the more stupid decisions you make around people you've just met, the quicker you bond. Now, I'm not encouraging drinking. I know in my freshers vlog, I once said yeah, you gotta drink. What I meant by that, to clarify before I sign off my university days, really, undergrad days, for bonding purposes, when you're meeting people for the first time, it's so much easier to connect when you're drunk, is what I meant. Sports culture in the UK, at university it bangs, it fully bangs. College sport, uni athletics, Wednesday night outs. In the UK, it bangs. So on a Wednesday night in Australia, I don't think there was a big university club night. Obviously my college had one, but there wasn't a big uni one for sports societies. Whereas in the UK, it's a Wednesday, you're gonna have a social with your sports team, and this sports team will become your family, or even any society you're part of, you can just go out as well. And the societies, the sports you join and that, they really do become your family because you go out with them, you see them, and the sense of community, amazing. So university sports teams in the UK, fully bangs. I don't even need to say anything else on the matter. If you've been to university on a Wednesday night out or a sports society, it bangs. Yeah, just drop some comments if you want to add to this, but I'm just going to say it bangs. If there's anyone watching this who's a YouTuber and wanting to start their own creator house, count me in. I think when I graduate, I'm going to try and do that, start Creator House. Support and general help on offer at university in the UK. Now, this information and what I'm about to say is coming from a collective group of about 10 people who are my closest friends who are all at university, and we all kind of say the same thing. So how do I put this? My friends are at DMU, Leeds, Leicester, Sheffield, And we all say the support services available are just meh. I'll use a Marmite analogy for this. So the support services are like Marmite. You have it in your cupboard for emergencies. You don't really want to have it, but when you do have it, afterwards you feel a bit sick. And quite frankly, there is support available at universities, and if you do eventually go as the last resort, by the time you actually finish in there, you often leave feeling more confused than you entered. So there is a bit of support, but often it's just such generic support, not tailored to anything you're doing in your course. It's just quite useless, really. And I think whenever you go to, let's say, your lecturer's office hours, there's always that pressure to get you in and out as soon as you can. I have had one or two good lecturers though who aren't like that, but the majority of my time, they're like, you just feel like you're in this tiny office and you're like, lecturers like talking to you like, and you're like, what? I just asked this question, what's this man talking about? And then he's like, do you understand? Yeah. He's like, alright, bye. I'm like, fucking hell, alright, mate. Like, the vibes are that in the office hours, they just want to get you in and out ASAP. And for this next point about university in the UK, the big review, I'm going to insert a clip from a podcast I did with my friend Owen about University of Birmingham, and we're going to talk about the university doctors. Now, before I insert this, huge disclaimer, love the NHS. I understand there's not enough funding for everything we want in life. I'm saying this with the best intentions, but roll the clip. University doctors, because university doctors are genuinely the worst service I have ever experienced in my life. I must have remembered this this time at our first year. I genuinely was ill for like weeks, and I was like bedbound, and I was trying to get an appointment. I was trying to call them up, and nobody was genuinely there to speak to me.
Completely.
And I thought it was just York, and I can't remember the doctor service, but is it the same at Birmingham?
I think, I specifically didn't go to the uni doctor because I used my common sense and I thought everyone's going to be going there. Yeah. And also, whereas in Selly Oak, I was closer to Selly Oak GP. And, I think I've heard from people, the uni doctors, they get oversubscribed very quickly. Everyone gets fresh as flu, everyone starts getting tonsillitis. Essentially,
yeah, you went to a different GP purely because the university GP is so oversubscribed.
From what I've heard of people, it can be quite oversubscribed.
But how can that be a thing, do you reckon, where obviously people at University of Birmingham,
it's resources,
the GP is so, slow at getting patients through and doing it. The same with York. But yet every university has it, but it's the same thing. Like, why isn't this being sorted out?
I don't know. Again, I think it's just money and resources, I think unis generally, the way they work, they'd rather put money into a fancy new building to attract people to come, then get that money in, than rather invest it into like infrastructure. Yeah, but I genuinely am surprised by this, because I thought it was just me, just that one university doctors who was struggling to get people and see people in first year for me in 2017. And then you say it now about Birmingham. It's like, why? And the NHS, godsend, great thing, but the universities really do need to look into making sure that you can get seen by a GP when you're sick. Completely, if there's adequate funding. And I think it is, I don't know, this could be a factor as well, but I reckon if it's a lot of people's first time away from home, they may be a bit, trigger happy in ringing the GP if they're subscribed to university. Well, now, I don't know that. I'm going on pure speculation here.
Let me know if you've ever had a good experience with the university doctor. I just had to give up. Unity Health, I think it was. Was it Unity Health? Absolute nightmare. Oh, and guys, if you do want to support the channel, basically, I've got phone wallets on offer, only £1 each. Check the link in the description. These things are perfect for your phone. Look at this. Like, I promise you, these things are great for a night out. Thank you to everyone who's bought one. Basically, I went for the economies of scale approach, and I bought like hundreds of them from China, and I realized that I just can't sell as many as I bought, so it's a bit of a problem here, but it's all right. So the one time I use economies of scale in real life, after all that learning, is my downfall, essentially. Obviously, when I think about kind of my degree and that sort of side of things, I'm not really going to talk too much about it because it's too specific to economics, but you can imagine like everyone's degree experience is different. And like a few other expectations I had about UK uni was that like I'd be going into campus, everyone would be on their bikes and skateboarding around, but the reality is, especially at York University, there wasn't as much of a culture to camp around and stay on campus and hang out on campus, whereas in Sydney there was a big culture to do that, probably because the weather, because half the time it's freezing and windy as anything. But I think I expected a tiny bit more campus life, and I definitely expected more monitoring from like my lecturers and everyone like that. And I was also surprised at the quality of teaching in some cases. But There's my big review. And there are a few other general things that I think are relevant to include in this big University UK review. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned. I've got some great content. I was filming with my friends yesterday. I've started this transformation one. I've got another turning a penny into a pound. Some very good content coming soon. Subscribe down below. Let me know if you think this haircut's good. I kind of miss my long hair, but it's still fairly long, but just not as long as it was. I reckon I look low-key like a TikToker, you know? Maybe. I had this funny story actually where I eventually got seen by my GP after I'd healed up after about 4 weeks of just being dead in bed basically. And I go in there, finally get an appointment for whatever reason, and I'm at the counter going to sign in, and there's this couple in front of me, and they're kind of saying like, you know, they've got an appointment, and the lady at the desk goes, "What's it for?" And the guy goes, "Oh, baby, keep your son." I was like,
Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness. It was just so surprising that, you know, the people in front of me had just had a baby at my university and were like keeping it. And I was like,
that is a young fresher there.
Yeah. I was like, damn, like obviously year 1 to 3, but out of nowhere, like your life
You're
just
left
changes.
And they're bringing in a new generation.
So recently I've started my 1 month post-lockdown transformation, and I've got a haircut, as you can see. Finally, after the comments berating me for like a year, I actually got a haircut, first one in about 2 years, and I'm back in the gym. So stay tuned for that.